Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unedited with Lo, where we talk about all things sales, marketing, and mindset. My name is Lauren Nelson, and I am your favorite sales and marketing coach. And currently, it is 1:46 a.m. Yep, it is 1:46 a.m. Somehow, some way, I managed to stay out a little longer than I had expected. I went immediately from getting my nails done to coming back showering, going to an event, and then next thing you know, we're out at restaurants and lounges and God knows where. However, as I decided to stay out, I'm also deciding to come on here and keep my commitment to myself of showing up for these next 30 days. And that's actually exactly what today's talk is going to be about. And that is loving yourself enough to keep the commitments you set for yourself, both in your personal life and in your business. It has to come to a point in your life where you get absolutely sick of yourself. You're sick of how you're showing up. You have to get sick of the results that you're getting. You have to get sick of the old version of you. And that can only happen when you have a very clear picture of who it is that you want to become. Now, let me just give you some forewarning. The process of becoming committed or committing to yourself is not necessarily an easy one. Because when we're going through this process of trying to become our best selves, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of moments where we have to retrain our brains and how we think about certain things. There's a lot of times where we have to unlearn some of the behaviors and some of the habits that we've been doing all of our lives, which got us to where we are, right? But they aren't the same things that's going to get us to where we want to be. And so as myself and you continue on this journey, whether it be in your entrepreneurial journey or just trying to, again, maximize your potential in whatever aspect of life that you want to, fitness, spiritually, if you're in school, all these things, it will require you to have a different level of commitment. And so just to give you some insight on my journey of commitment, like I mentioned before, one of the things that I had to do is really get clear on what and who the woman I want to become looks like. Who is she? What does she do? And not only did I have to identify that, but that's also something that I have to actively remind myself of. It's so easy for us to forget. If we're trying to say this is who we want to become or this is who we are but just in the future, but currently we don't embody that. Currently our mindset or our thoughts are in some other dimension. I don't even think dimension is the right word, but you know what I'm saying when they are not the same. So the only way to bridge this gap between where we are now and where we want to be is by consistent reinforcement. And so what this looks like for me on a day-to-day basis is rewriting who I am every day. What type of woman am I? Am I a woman who shows up? Am I a woman of my word? Am I a woman who makes sure that I do what's required rather than just doing what I feel like? Like, who am I? And not only that, I write who I need to become to reach my goals. Who is the woman who can make $1 million before they're 26? Who is she? What does she look like? Does she give out on her goals? Does she stop in the middle? Or does she follow through? Does she keep her word to herself? Is she consistent? Does she not take no for an answer? Those are all the things that I have to remind myself on an everyday basis, because if I don't, and it's happened before, I start to go backwards. I start to forget why I started. I start to get around other people who don't necessarily want to go where I go, and so then it's easy to get distracted by their wants and where they're going. And so it's really important to get clear on your path and remind yourself of who you need to be, who you're becoming every single day. The second thing that I touched on was getting completely sick of yourself. Y'all, I can't tell you, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you need to love yourself, but the only time I ever make change in my life is when I'm absolutely disgusted with myself. And sometimes it has to get to a point where I allow myself to get disgusted, because when we are comfortable, we do not change. Why would you change if you're comfortable? Let's say I'm laying in bed and I'm comfortable. I have no obligations. Oh, something's tickling my throat. Anyways, I have no obligations. Why would I change the size of my pillow if I'm comfortable? The pillow is cool on this side. Why would I flip it over? I'm comfortable. My blankets are warm like this. Why would I take them off? I'm comfortable. We don't change unless we're uncomfortable. The only time I would flip my pillow is if the one side is too hot. The only time I would move my blankets is if I start to sweat a little bit. But if I'm comfortable, I'm not moving. If I'm comfortable, I won't use the extra brain energy to change. And so sometimes what it takes is getting disgusted with yourself. Getting sick of yourself. Getting to the point where you actually can't stand yourself. You're like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, who is she? Like, I am honestly so disappointed in myself today. And when you start to feel that level of disgust, then you're like, oh, I have to change. Like, I can't live with myself being like this. When I get off track, when I get out of flow for too long, when I'm not taking action for too long, and I just get stagnant and I'm distracted by all the nonsense of the world. And I know how big my long-term goals are. I know how big my vision is. I know the type of life I want to live. And I start getting off that track, sooner or later, I'm disgusted. Because I'm like, is this worth sacrificing for what I want long term? And it goes back to knowing what you want out of life, out of who you want to become as a person, because you'll never have anything to compare to. You won't feel bad if you get off track if you don't know where you're going, because you're like, this is just another part of the plan, the path, which you have not yet created, because you don't know where you're going. Right? And so by having clear vision, it helps you have clear discernment, and it helps you navigate life just a whole lot easier. It helps you embrace a whole different level of commitment to yourself. And the last thing that I want to touch on for today's talk is how commitment and discipline and self-dedication is an act of self-love. Me showing up tonight is me loving myself so much that I won't let a night out stop me from being consistent and keeping my word to myself and showing up for myself, so that the future me can say thank you. The actions you take today are literally building for your future. If you don't take the action today, if you don't plant the seed outside today, you cannot expect a tree that produces fruit in a year or 2 years, however long that tree needs to stay in the ground till fruiting, okay, whatever. But if you never plant the seed, you cannot expect to harvest. If I never make these videos, and if I don't show up and I get excuses, all these things, I shouldn't expect a harvest, right? And even deeper than that, let's say you plant the seed, right? You start the business, you get it started, you're showing up a little bit. Plants and things that we plant need to be watered. So you plant the seed, but the soil dries up. You stop showing up, you stop watering your plant. You stop watering your seeds. Now what? They're drying up and dying. You start to see a little bit of sprout. You see, oh, my plant is finally starting to grow. Something is happening. It's working. What I'm doing is working. The consistency that I'm doing, it's working. And then you stop watering it. What happens? It slowly dies. It slowly starts to die. And that's what happens to your business. That's what happens to your fitness goals. That's what happens to everything that you decided to commit yourself, but then you fall back on after you start getting small results. That's what happens. So today, through this video, I just want to remind you to recommit to committing to yourself. It will not be easy, and I'm telling you, you will fail. Probably the first or second time, third time, maybe, but, ooh, hold on. A quote in this book, I almost forgot. I was thinking about this earlier that I wanted to share with you guys. A quote out of this book I was reading today, it's called The Richest Man in Babylon, 1000% recommend. It's a book about building and maintaining wealth and growing your wealth. The quote says, "Where the determination is, the way can be found." If you are determined enough to get it done, you'll figure out a way. For me personally, starting to do this and be consistent, it took some time to finally commit my mind fully. But I've been showing up, I've been posting, I've been doing all these things. But it has to finally get to a point where it's like, okay, I've navigated this space long enough. I know what it looks like if I don't get enough sleep at night. I can't show up in the morning. I know what happens if I stay out too late with friends. Then I'll be less motivated to record at night. So how can I structure my life in a way that will allow me to show up as my highest self every single day? And what can I do even on the days where I might slip up and I might stay out too late and then have to record at freaking 1:40 a.m.? I digress. What can I do, right? And what is driving me to stay committed and even want to record at what time is it now? Because I want me to record at 1:58 a.m. in the morning. What is that vision for me? What is that vision for you that will keep you going in the wee hours of the night? What is that vision for you that will keep you going even when you feel like you want to stop, when you are at your worst, when you are the most tired? What is it? With that being said, recommit to committing to yourself, because your future self will thank you for it. Okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are interested in learning more about my sales and marketing program, be sure to click the link down below if you're watching this on YouTube, and click the link in my bio to book a discovery call. Or if you just like to chat with me a little bit more about it, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm always available to chat it up, talk it out, learn more about the things that you're struggling with, what your long-term goals are, and see how we can create a strategy and a plan and a system to help get you there the most efficient and effective way possible. All right? So with that being said, please like, comment, and subscribe. Go on, like, comment, subscribe. And for those on Instagram, please hit that save and like button. I love you so much. And good night from me, but maybe good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening. I love you. Remember that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow in my next video. Bye.